Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from, we'd love to hear it. And if you enjoy true crime stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. The call came in at 4:17 a.m. on a cold Tuesday morning in late October, the kind of morning where the fog hangs low, muting streetlights and swallowing sound. Officer Daniel Reeves was only halfway through a cup of vending machine coffee when dispatch reported an abandoned vehicle on the edge of Briarwood, a quiet suburban community outside Portland. A small neighborhood, safe, predictable, the sort of place people chose because nothing ever happened there. Until that morning. The car, a silver Toyota Camry, was found at the end of Ridgeview Trail, a narrow service road mostly used by cyclists and dog walkers during daylight. The engine was still running. The driver's door was open. But the driver, 29-year-old Lena Marston, wasn't there. Her phone sat on the passenger seat. Her wallet was tucked inside her purse. Her keys were still in the ignition. It looked less like someone left the car and more like someone was pulled from it. Officer Reeves didn't say that out loud, not yet, but the thought lingered like the fog. Within an hour, police tape went up, investigators arrived, and what began as a welfare check quickly spiraled into the region's most puzzling missing person case in years. Lena wasn't the type of person anyone expected to vanish. She worked as an emergency room intake coordinator, steady job, steady life, steady routine. Her coworkers described her as organized, reliable, the kind of person who labeled everything and always showed up early. She didn't drink much, didn't party, and wasn't involved in anything even remotely dangerous. So why did her car end up running on a deserted trail at 4 a.m.? Detective Erin Holbrook, known for her calm intensity and nearly photographic memory, was assigned as lead investigator. The first thing she did was have Lena's car towed to the forensic garage. The second thing she did was visit Lena's apartment. The apartment was neat, almost too neat, stacks of color-coded folders on the desk, shoes aligned perfectly by the door, refrigerator organized like a catalog photo. Nothing seemed disturbed, nothing suggesting a struggle or hasty departure. But Holbrook noticed something odd, a framed picture on the hallway wall slightly crooked. Not much, just enough that someone meticulous like Lena would never leave it that way. Behind the photo was a faint, round mark on the wall, as if the frame had been bumped recently. Possible sign of an argument? A scuffle? A panic? There were no other obvious clues. No messages indicating plans to meet someone. No packed bags. No signs of a break-in. Just one crooked frame. Sometimes investigations begin with details so small no one wants to take them seriously. But Holbrook had built her career on noticing the small things. She jotted it in her notes anyway. The next breakthrough came 3 hours later, when security footage finally loaded from the traffic camera 2 blocks from Lena's apartment. It showed her car pulling out of the complex at precisely 3:52 a.m. Alone. No one in the passenger seat. No indication she was being followed. But then came the strange part. Lena didn't take the normal route to her job, the one she had driven nearly every day for 6 years. Instead, she turned left, toward Ridgeview Trail. A place she had no reason to be. A place that wasn't anywhere near her workplace. Why would she go that way at that hour? Holbrook whispered to herself as she replayed the footage. There was no clear answer. Even stranger, no other vehicles followed her. No suspicious figures. No signs of distress. It was as if she willingly drove straight to the place she would disappear. By early afternoon, the search expanded. K-9 units combed the trail. Drones scanned the woods. Officers knocked on doors throughout nearby neighborhoods, hoping someone saw or heard something unusual at dawn. Most residents gave the same answer, they heard nothing. But one person had seen something. A jogger named Calvin Rayner came forward around 2 p.m., his voice shaky as he recounted what he witnessed. He said he'd passed Ridgeview Trail around 4:05 a.m., only minutes after Lena's car was first reported. He noticed the running headlights. Then, as he approached, he saw a figure near the driver's side door. A man, Calvin said quietly. Tall. Wearing a hood. He looked like he was trying to pull something out of the car. What do you mean, something? Holbrook asked. Calvin swallowed. I don't know. I didn't want to get involved. Did he see you? Calvin shook his head. I hope not. It wasn't much. But it was the first confirmed sighting of anyone near the vehicle. Back at headquarters, forensics began inspecting Lena's car. The interior was clean, no fingerprints other than hers. No signs of struggle. Nothing broken. But then one technician pointed something out. There's a faint smear on the inside of the driver's door, she said. It's not blood. Possibly dirt. Or dust from someone's gloves. Holbrook stared at it. A nearly invisible gray streak, almost easy to miss. A clue, small, quiet, almost insignificant. But the type that often becomes the key. Still, the biggest question remained, who was the man Calvin saw? And how did he reach the trail if no other car was captured on camera? Was he already waiting there? Did he approach on foot? Did Lena know him? Or, the most unsettling possibility, did he force her to drive there? By evening, Holbrook met with Lena's best friend, Mara Ellison, who had grown more anxious by the hour. Mara revealed something that shifted the investigation onto an entirely new path. 3 nights ago, Mara said, Lena told me someone had been calling her from a blocked number. No message. Just silence. Did she know who it was? Holbrook asked. Mara hesitated. She had a guess. Holbrook leaned in. Who? Mara exhaled sharply. Her ex. They broke up 6 months ago. He didn't take it well. Another connection. Another clue. Another possibility that complicated the timeline. But before Holbrook could ask more, her phone buzzed with an urgent message. Come to the forensic garage. Now. She rushed downstairs, heart pounding, expecting the usual, a print match, a fiber result, something straightforward. But when she stepped into the garage, every technician had stopped working. Their faces were pale. Their eyes fixed on Lena's car. One of them pointed silently to the trunk. We just opened it, he whispered. And detective, you need to see what was inside. Holbrook moved toward the trunk, dread pressing into her chest. When she looked inside, her breath caught. Because what they found wasn't a body. It was worse. It was a message. 4 words, written on a folded piece of paper, placed neatly in the center. You're looking the wrong way. And beneath it, a single photograph. Something, or someone, that changed everything. Detective Aaron Holbrook stared at the trunk for several long seconds, her mind turning through possibilities faster than she could form words. The note alone was strange, calm, deliberate, placed almost like the sender wanted to be found. But the photograph beneath it, that was what made the room fall into silence. The picture showed a stretch of sidewalk, cracked concrete, a crooked fire hydrant, a brick wall covered in faded graffiti. But the chilling detail wasn't the location. It was the timestamp in the corner. 3:49 a.m. 3 minutes before Lena left home. And standing in the background, barely visible in the shadow of a street lamp, was a figure. Hooded. Motionless. Watching Lena's apartment building. Whoever left the photo had been close enough to see her leave, close enough to know exactly when she'd step into her car. Someone was stalking her, one of the techs murmured. Holbrook didn't respond. Her eyes stayed fixed on the figured silhouette in the photo. The image didn't show a face, just a shape, tall, lean, slightly slouched. But the posture alone made something inside her tighten. She had seen that stance before. Somewhere. But where? She took a photo of the photo and stepped aside, needing a moment away from the dozen eyes waiting for her reaction. Her thoughts raced, someone was warning them. Or taunting them. Or both. And whoever it was clearly believed the police were looking in the wrong direction. Not the trail. Not the jogger's sighting. Not even the ex-boyfriend. Something else. Someone else. By evening, the investigation expanded into 2 large threads. Who left the message? Who was the figure in the photograph? Detectives canvassed the area near Lena's apartment. They found the sidewalk from the picture within minutes, same cracks, same graffiti, same bent fire hydrant. But no witnesses remembered anyone standing there that morning. No suspicious cars. No arguments. No strangers. Yet someone had been there. Someone close enough to observe Lena, but far enough to avoid being noticed. Holbrook checked the nearest security camera. It faced the wrong direction. It missed the exact spot in the photo by 5 feet. Convenient, she muttered. As darkness fell over the city, Holbrook sat with Lena's friend, Mara Ellison, again. This time in a quieter room. A slower pace. More careful questions. Mara, earlier you said Lena received silent calls from a blocked number, Holbrook began. Did she ever mention anything else? Strange behavior? Anything unusual at work? Anyone following her? Mara shook her head, then paused. Well, there was one thing. I don't know if it matters. It might, Holbrook said gently. Tell me. Mara rubbed her hands together, trying to remember. Last week, she told me someone kept leaving footprints on her balcony. Holbrook straightened. Footprints? Yeah. She lived on the 2nd floor, so it didn't make sense. She thought maybe it was maintenance or something. But she said they were always muddy. Same size. Same pattern. Did she report it? No. She didn't want to sound paranoid. Holbrook jotted it down carefully. Footprints didn't appear by accident. And 2nd-floor balconies didn't get random visitors. Did she ever mention seeing anyone? Holbrook asked. Mara hesitated again, a heavier pause this time. She thought someone might have been watching her window at night. But she couldn't be sure. Holbrook locked eyes with her. She was scared, wasn't she? Mara's voice dipped. Very. The room fell quiet. Someone had been tracking Lena for days. Maybe weeks. Back at the precinct, Holbrook's partner, Detective Rowan Tate, approached her with new information. Tate was blunt, efficient, and allergic to anything that resembled small talk. You need to see this, he said, handing her a printed sheet. It was from Lena's phone records, the block number that kept calling her. Except, it wasn't blocked to the carriers. We got the source, Tate said. It's a burner. Bought with cash in a discount electronics shop on Pine Street. But here's the interesting part. He tapped the bottom of the page. The calls didn't start 3 nights ago. They started 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks. Which meant whoever targeted Lena had been patient. Very patient. Someone was preparing, Holbrook whispered. She took a long breath. What about the store cameras? Do we have footage of the purchase? Tate nodded. Yeah. And you're not going to like it. They watched the video together, grainy footage showing a hooded figure entering the shop late at night. He moved with purpose, head down, face hidden. Too smooth, too careful. He bought the phone, paid cash, left. Then, as he walked past the shop window, he paused, almost as if aware the camera was there. He tilted his head slightly toward it. Not enough to reveal his face. Just enough to show he knew he was being watched. A taunt. A message. A warning. Holbrook felt a slow chill spread through her. Whoever this person was, they weren't sloppy. They weren't panicked. They weren't rushing. They were enjoying this. At midnight, as officers regrouped, a young patrol officer jogged into the room with a nervous look. Detective Holbrook? We might have something else. Holbrook turned. What is it? The officer held up an evidence bag. Inside was a small metallic object. We found this near the edge of Ridgeview Trail. About 20 yards from the car. Holbrook took the bag and examined it closely. It was a key. But not a house key. Not a car key. Not even a storage unit key. It belonged to a locker. A commercial one, the numbered kind used in public facilities. Where does it belong? She asked. We traced it to a self-storage facility on the north side. The manager says the locker associated with this key was rented 2 months ago, cash only. Name? Holbrook asked. The officer swallowed. No name. Fake ID. No picture. Of course. Tate grabbed his jacket. We're going. Holbrook nodded, pocketing the evidence bag. The self-storage facility was quiet when they arrived, rows of steel doors, humming lights, the faint echo of loose gravel under their boots. The manager, a tired-looking man in his 50s, led them to Unit 117. That's the one, he said. Hasn't been opened since yesterday morning. Holbrook inserted the key. A soft click. The door slid upward. The locker interior was empty, except for a single cardboard box. Tate shot her a look. Your turn. Holbrook opened the box carefully, expecting equipment, documents, anything that might give answers. But inside was something far worse. A collection of photographs. Dozens of them. All of Lena. Walking to her car. At the grocery store. Standing on her balcony. Checking her mail. Sitting at her lunch break behind the hospital. Someone had been documenting her entire life. Every routine. Every habit. Every moment she believed she was alone. But the photograph on top, the one deliberately placed for them to see first, made Holbrook's stomach tighten. It was a close-up shot of Lena's window. A dark silhouette stood outside the frame. Watching. The caption, printed on a small strip of paper beneath it, read, "You're still looking the wrong way." Holbrook stared at it, her pulse rising. And then she saw something she hadn't noticed at first, a detail in the reflection of the window. A face. Not Lena's. Not the stalker's. Someone else. Someone she recognized. Someone she never expected. Her entire body went still. Because the reflection in the glass belonged to a person she had spoken to earlier that day. Someone who should have had nothing to do with any of this. Someone who had lied. Detective Aaron Holbrook held the photograph with steady hands, but inside, her thoughts churned like a storm. The reflection in the window wasn't vague or questionable. It was unmistakable. It was Calvin Rayner, the jogger who claimed he saw a hooded man pulling something from Lena's car. The same man who said he didn't want to get involved. The same man who approached the police only after news of the abandoned vehicle spread. Holbrook suddenly replayed everything he had told them. Every sentence. Every hesitation. And then she saw it clearly. Calvin hadn't described what he saw. He described what he wanted them to believe. She exhaled slowly. He never ran past the trail at 4:05, she whispered. He was already there long before. Tate's eyes widened. You think he staged the sighting? I think, she said quietly, we've been looking at the wrong suspect from the very beginning. The photos in the box weren't the work of a stranger. They were the work of someone who knew the area well, someone who understood the neighborhood's blind spots, someone who could move around without drawing attention. A local. Someone who blended in. Someone like Calvin. Back at the precinct, Holbrook immediately ordered a background check. It came back with a list of details that sharpened the situation even further. Calvin lived less than half a mile from Lena's apartment. He jogged Ridgeview Trail daily, at inconsistent, unpredictable times. He worked night shifts as a warehouse loader, giving him irregular, unnoticed hours. And 6 months ago, he had filed a formal complaint at the hospital, against Lena. A complaint most people forgot. A small argument about parking that escalated publicly. He accused her of disrespect, humiliation, trying to embarrass him in front of others. Nothing violent, no threats, no physical altercation. The case was closed the same day. But the notes included something chilling. Calvin exhibited fixation-like behavior during the complaint. Repeated phrases about being ignored and underestimated. Tate stared at the page. So, this whole thing started over a parking dispute? Holbrook shook her head. No. That was just the moment he noticed her. People like this fixate when something dents their pride. It doesn't take much. Suddenly, everything connected, the blocked calls, the footprints, the sense of being watched, the photos, the carefully placed clues. He had been studying her. Planning. Positioning himself as a witness, not a suspect. And the note, "You're looking the wrong way," wasn't a warning. It was a performance. The kind meant to steer investigators away from the truth. The team prepared a warrant for Calvin's apartment. Holbrook and Tate led the entry along with 2 officers. The building was quiet. Most tenants were asleep or watching late-night television. Apartment 2B was at the end of the hallway. Holbrook signaled. Tate knocked firmly. "Police. Open the door." Silence. Another knock. Harder. "Calvin Rayner, this is law enforcement. Open the door." Still nothing. Then came the soft, unmistakable click of a door unlocking, not from inside his apartment, but from the stairwell leading to the parking lot. Holbrook turned sharply. Footsteps. Fast. Retreating. She sprinted toward the sound, bursting into the stairwell just in time to see someone descending the stairs at full speed, hood up, backpack slung across his shoulder. "Calvin," she shouted. "Stop." He didn't. He shoved through the lower exit door and ran into the night. Tate and the officers followed, but Holbrook was faster. She chased him across the parking lot, down an alley, across a patch of grass behind a closed grocery store. Calvin darted between dumpsters and vaulted a low fence. Holbrook stayed on him. "Calvin, it's over," she called out. "Running won't fix anything." He didn't turn. Didn't slow. Didn't say a word. He just kept running. Finally, he reached a dead end, a fenced-in utility area with nowhere else to go. He stalled, chest rising and falling, eyes wide as he realized he was trapped. Holbrook stopped several feet away, breathing hard but steady. "It's done. We know about the locker. The photos. The calls. It's over." Calvin's jaw tightened. For the first time, he spoke, quietly, almost trembling. "You weren't supposed to figure it out." Holbrook's voice was calm. "Where is Lena? That's what matters now." Calvin shook his head. "You're still looking the wrong way." But the tremor in his hand said otherwise. Tate arrived seconds later with 2 officers. Together, they carefully approached and detained Calvin without incident, securing his backpack and anything else on him. The chase was over. But the case wasn't. Not yet. Back at the precinct, Calvin was interviewed. He didn't confess, but he didn't deny anything either. He spoke in circles, about people ignoring him, about wanting to be seen, about his life never mattering until she looked at him. Holbrook sifted through every sentence. The more he talked, the clearer it became. Calvin had orchestrated nearly everything. The notes. The clues. The false sighting. The planted photo. But he kept repeating one thing. "You're not listening. You're still looking the wrong way." What did that mean? Why keep saying it? What was she missing? Holbrook replayed the timeline for the 100th time, step by step, scene by scene. Then something clicked. The photograph from the trunk, the one that put Calvin at the scene, wasn't taken by him. He was in it. Someone else had photographed him. Which meant someone else had followed him. Someone else had been near Lena's apartment the night she disappeared. Someone who never revealed themselves. Someone who remained invisible in all of this. Someone the police had unintentionally overlooked. Holbrook's pulse rose slowly as the realization hardened. Calvin wasn't the only one watching Lena. There was another observer. Another presence. Another pair of eyes tracking the same woman. Someone who never left a trace except one message. You're looking the wrong way. And suddenly, Holbrook understood the meaning. Calvin wasn't the warning. He was the distraction. The real threat, the second stalker, was still out there. Still watching. Still waiting. And the last photo inside the storage locker, the one Holbrook hadn't understood before, now struck her with full force, a blurry nighttime image of a street corner, taken from inside a car. Not Calvin's car. Not anyone's car they had identified. A different vehicle. A different vantage point. A different stalker. The photo's timestamp? 2 hours after Lena vanished. Meaning whoever took that picture was out there, free, and still tracking his next move, or his next victim. Holbrook closed her notebook slowly. Calvin wasn't the ending. He was the middle. Lena's whereabouts remained unknown. And somewhere in the city, a second stalker, the one Calvin never noticed, was still watching, still hiding, still waiting for his moment. The investigation reopened at dawn. Holbrook stepped outside into the early morning air, and her phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. Just 4 words. You're still too late. She looked up instinctively, scanning rooftops, windows, shadows, cars. The city felt too quiet. Too aware. Too alive. This case wasn't over. It was just beginning. If you thought this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.